From the Side podcast is delighted to be supported by our two main podcast sponsors, Fields Joinery and AFC Knowsley. Fields Joinery is one of the arms of the Fields Property Group, and whether you are a commercial or a residential customer, no job is too small for these guys. If you are watching on YouTube, all of their social and website links are on the screen now. However, if you are an audio-only listener of the podcast, do head over to fieldspropertygroup.co.uk. That's fieldspropertygroup.co.uk. This is where you can find all of their social links and get in touch if you do need any work doing. Do not forget, no job is too small for these guys, and we would like to thank Fields Joinery for sponsoring the podcast from day one, because it really does go a long way. We'd also like to thank AFC Knowsley for sponsoring the podcast. AFC Knowsley is a fantastic grassroots football club which has teams ranging from age 6 all the way up to the first team, including a disability team and a women's football team also. All teams play out of the Lord Derby Pavilion in Atherton, which is a £1.6 million complex, which is a fantastic addition to the grassroots football scene within this city. AFC Knowsley have also been kind enough to allow us to use their facilities to continue recording our podcasts on a weekly basis with all of our fantastic guests. I think you'll agree they look absolutely fantastic on camera and they're even better in person. So if you do have a spare weekend, do get down to the Lord Derby Pavilion and support this fantastic local grassroots football club. If you are watching on YouTube, all of their social and website links are on the screen now. However, if you are an audio-only listener of the podcast, do head over to afcknowsley.co.uk. That's afcknowsley.co.uk. From the Side podcast, we'd like to extend its thanks again to Fields Joinery and AFC Knowsley for supporting the podcast from day one. It really does go a long way, and we hope that you enjoyed the episode. Hello, and welcome into the From the Side podcast, episode number 6. It is now. 6. Episode number 6. I've got Jay next to me again after he got interrogated last week. And as always, Jay, apart from last week, you can introduce our guest.
Yeah, it's mad. Well, to be in this side, like, but this week's guest is a good mate of mine, Nick Matthews. Nice one.
Even fellas, no problem.
So we just start, and the first question is always, how did you what was your start in coaching? How did you get involved and stuff?
Yeah, obviously started coaching, obviously about 15 years ago. Unfortunately, got a lengthy football ban. Done something on the football pitch that I shouldn't have done, it never ever comes over. Got a 5-year ban. 5-year ban, started watching my lad. My lad was 6 at the time, started watching him play. A couple of people knew that I played and that, and then he just asked me, would you be interested in coaching one of the sides? So it was Old Chairmen boys. So I said, yeah, I'll come in there. A coaching vacancy opened up at Redgate Rovers, nothing to do with our club, they just said somebody had been paid for, Redgate to pay for it. So I went up there. Done me coaching for, I think he might still get the council, maybe Ronnie Reason. And then start from there. So started off with Old Chairmen boys, under 7s in the Scam JFL.
Well, what about your football ban? Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, moments of madness. Very similar to Eric Cantona, probably say. It was a front kick. I'd done bits of taekwondo and stuff when I was younger, and maybe it was like 12 times British champion, you know what I mean? I used to be like a moving, punching kick back for him. And I just, one of the moves that I was constantly done on me. It's stupidly done, unfortunately, to a referee. 5 years. So yeah, it was kung fu kick to a referee's chest. Long time ago, embarrassed by it, move on.
Listen, everyone does something that they regret, don't they? You know what I mean? It's one of them. So, was it under 7s day that you said that you started with?
Under 7s, yeah.
Where did what was the progression then from the 7s, like, to obviously moving into senior football and first teams and that?
So obviously done the under 7s. I done the under 7s, and then we changed club. We went to a club called it's a pub and scam called it's known as the Polo, it's the Polaris. So we ended up going to them. They asked me would I go in. Again, you're always at politics and football and all like that. I didn't like certain things that was happening at the previous club. We went there. So I set up then. I had an under 7s and an under 8s, and then I'd done them for 4 seasons. And in the 4 seasons that I was there, we done very, very well. We won about 28 trophies over the 2 teams. Coached a couple of really good lads at the time. Well, he plays for Hearts now. He used to play for Everton. Benny Banangimi. Him and his brother David, they used to come down. David actually played for me. Benny just used to sort of train. I was lucky enough after 12 months. First 12 months that I was there, got approached by Bolton Wanderers. But one was come in and said, like, would you like to come in and do some coaching, satellite centre, do some scouting? 5 of my lads had been through their doors, do you know what I mean? And he was like, who's this team, Polaris and all like that? So that's the way it was. So yeah, so from there went on, and then as I say, from having like the 4th, we were going into the 5th season. I got a phone call out of the blue. No, tell live, skipped a bit, sorry. That was on a Sunday, so for Saturday. A lad, good friend of mine, he runs Claybrow, J Alf at the time, this was before even Claybrow was born. He had a club called, what he set up called, Skelmersdale Town. They played in the Christian League in the Liverpool. Yeah. Christian League. So I tell you what, Christian League, it was an eye-opener. I went there and I thought, Christian League? I think half of them are born-again Christians, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? They're born-again Christians for a reason. There were some big fellas, like some flying tackles coming in that. So I went there and helped him out, which was a good experience. That was my first experience, like sort of coaching. Jay was sort of like the manager. I think he was only about 18 at the time himself. Do you know what I mean? I'm about 5 years older than him, 6 years old or whatever. Anyway, I went there, done that, and then just out the blue, I got a phone call off the old then Schem United manager, Tommy Lawson, and he said to me, he said, listen, he said, a friend of mine's just been given the Atherton job. So I was like, right, okay, so would you be interested? He's looking for number 2. He said, you know, like a majority of the lads from the Schem area and stuff like that. Would you be interested? So I said, yeah, and then went in. It was Phil Priestley. He's the first team goalkeeper coach now at Harrogate Town, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, so I went in. And that was my first thing with the proper. They went into the semi-pro football, gave up my season ticket, which probably done me a favour, being an Evertonian. But, yeah, and then the rest, like obviously the last, 12 seasons now being involved in up in the county, semi-pro and that.
So obviously being involved with Tommy there, he was there for years, wasn't he?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
He was like, I think he left when I started coaching.
Yeah.
I've been doing about 10 years, something like
that.
Yeah. Was he like someone who you looked at and thought, yeah, I want to be a number 1, or was it always in your head to be a number 1, or did you just fall into it type of thing?
Yeah, do you know, to be brutally honest, like obviously, I used to go and watch a couple of the Schem games, like a couple of mates played for Schem, like one of my mates Ian Parth, absolutely fantastic footballer, so we used to go down watching them. But even before Tommy, we always knew Tommy. Tommy used to like from like the Sunday League, and then he was Schem, and then he left, and then he was Prescott Cables, then back at Schem. Tommy sort of like the merry-go-round of it. But it was, to be fair, it was one of my mates' dads, a fella called Paul Gallagher. He was someone that I looked up to, do you know what I mean? He was like one of my mates' dads, and he used to like the Tanhouse Labour. That's who I played for as well. Of a Sunday, we played for Tanhouse Labour. We had a really good side, and then he got Schem promoted, and then to be fair, it's a bit of he got promoted and then got sacked in a celebration party, and then Tommy was given then as like sort of another chance at it. But yeah, I say, yeah, I always had like respect for Tommy, do you know what I mean? I used to always chat to him. You know, Tommy's one of them fellas, probably a bit like me now. I'm 47 this year myself, so because I've been in the game for a while, you just talk football, don't you? So I could stand there and listen to like Tommy's and your Paul Gallies, and I could hear them talk for ages, like, so do you know what I mean? It was just a case of, I think he knew that I knew a few of the Schem lads, a couple of the lads from the Schem town had trained with Schem United's first team, like they were sort of like only 18 at the time, so they were never ever going to progress, like, so.
How'd you get sacked in a celebration party for being promoted?
Do you know what? Listen, obviously I weren't there, I was still playing at the time then, but I believe it was something to do with, he never had the experience. It's the old cliche, I'm not experienced enough to manage at that level. But Tommy took the job, and I think it seemed a bit bad blood at the time between people and that, do you know what I mean? But listen, I had absolutely loads of respect for Tommy, and I had loads of respect for Paul, do you know what I mean? And these things happen in football. It's happened to me, which we'll probably get on to later on in the podcast. So
after there then, where did you go from there? What clubs did you go to, and what was the journey after that?
Yeah, so from Atherton, like I say, I went in there as number 2. Do you know what? We had a really good young side. Really, really good young side, do you know what I mean? But it was young. So what basically happened is in season 2, the club had decided that they wanted to sort of progress slightly, do you know what I mean? And he was saying like the lads that we had might not have been good enough. And we were like, yeah, but they've done a season now at the North West Counties, you know what I mean? That they're all, like, I'm not saying the season pros, but they'd had a year. in men's football. And long story short, basically I just said to Phil, I said, like, we should get a reserve side. I said, you know, we don't want to get rid of these lads, we've put a year into them. And the club knocked it back. And I sort of said to Phil, I said, nah, do you know what, that's not for me. You know what I mean? I said, I can't get rid of these lads, I'm loyal to lads. And if you know anyone in football, and you're just speaking about me, I'm loyal. I am loyal as they come, do you know what I mean? I'm outspoken, I'll say how it is, you know what I mean? But I won't, like, talk behind people's backs as such. And they rejected it, and I said, well, I'm done, like. I said, I'm done. And he went, what, you going to resign? I said, yeah. So 10 minutes later, he rang me and said, right, we're both out of a job. He said, I've just resigned. He said, I've resigned because I want to be with you. So I was like, all right, yeah. And then I went to St Helens Town as first team coach, Ian Granite. Again, a lad I knew from Skem. He used to play for the same team as him and that, a few years younger than me. He was the manager of St Helens Town. And he asked me would I go down to be the first team coach. And I agreed straight away, do you know what I mean? Like I said, I knew a few of the lads there anyway, and I knew I could take a couple of lads there. But little story, me first, I think I might have been one of the co-founders of FC St Helens, technically, in a way. By the way, Steve Lever's done absolutely fantastic there at the club. You know what I mean? FC St Helens are really, really flying. But yeah, one of my first sessions, we went there, probably about 40 lads. And they were where now the ground is now. Behind it, obviously there was like playing fields there. That's where St Helens Town used to train. And we were in there, and there was loads of lads there. Like, and I was thinking, some of these lads, these are still playing. Like, I've got a chance still here. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I was well finished by then. There was a dad and a lad, which was fantastic. It must be fantastic for the family portfolio that you play for the same team as your lad. Like, but for a semi-professional side, it isn't that great. Like, and I'll be honest with you, I think it was my second training session that sort of got the lads in, and I was dead honest with them, and I just said, look, I said, we'll have a little chat. I said, you, and I sort of at the moment said, listen, I'm really, really sorry, but don't come back, like. And I remember Ian Granite, like, laughing, saying, fucking hell, lad, you're ruthless. And I said, well, it's no good. I said, I'm doing a training session, there's 40 lads. I said, and we might have had like 8 or 9 lads who were really, really good, but if the other 32 aren't that great, you know, you're passing a little ball and you're zinging a little ball into somebody's feet and it's bouncing off and going off over there, a simple little rondo session or something like that. I said, the ball spent more time out of the circle than in it. I said, do you know what I mean? And then that was that. And then, so I went in as first team coach, and then Ian left. Ian Price took over as the manager. And he asked me and Paul Jones, would we be like his number 2s, which we both said, yeah, do you know what I mean? And then obviously, do you know what, again, it was the same scenario. We had a very, very young side. We actually got relegated the last kick of the ball of the season. We needed a point against Main Road. And I swear, we were at Aston Athletics ground and they scored in about the 94th minute, and they didn't even celebrate. Main Road didn't even celebrate the goal. Yeah, and we were a good side, and like for that side we had like Stevie Milner and stuff like that. Like we gave Stevie Milner his chance at like 17, like Neil Weaver. You know, we had lads like Connor Sanders and stuff like that. We had a really, really good young side, and these lads now are all earning really good money now in the counties and above. Do you know what I mean?
What season was that?
So how old's Milne now? Was Milne about 26? Is he?
Something like that.
About 9 seasons ago. Yeah, he was like 17. We'd got him from college football.
Like 13, 14, something like that.
Yeah, it was like I say, yeah. We got him from college football. We that's what we had to do, because at the time we had no budget. There was no budget at all at St Helens, you know what I mean? So
never has really been there, has there?
No. So like I said, there was no budget. They got relegated, and then Ian Price stepped down. So we interviewed for the job, and we got the job. It was me and Alan Gillespie went in as the man. That was my first managerial role. At the semi-pro, and
did you think like you'd earned your stripes then? You'd worked, you'd done.
No. I don't think it's like. Listen,
the way you mean it, it's probably worded that wrong. I mean it like you've done your time as a number 2, and you want to think, well, I want to have a go as a number 1 now.
Do you know what? It happens. It happens. Things happen for a reason. I'm a great believer at that. I just think at that time. You know, you can go in, you can be a number 1, you can be number 2, you can be a coach. They're all different roles. So I mean, I like to be on the training ground. I like to be talking to the players. I like having banter. I like having a laugh. I like to see how everything's going on. You know, and the job come available, and I just thought, you know what, yeah, I'll have a go at that. I thought I could do it, you know what I mean, as a man said, I reckon I could be a gaffer, you know what I mean, and to be fair, we had fantastic season, absolutely. We got like manager of the month in, I think it was January or February, and we missed out on the playoffs by 1 point, and we never had a single penny, never had a single pound. In fact, a little story, we never even had balls, never cones. I mean, we had bits and bobs, the club had bits and bobs, but because I had the junior set up, I used to take my own cones. Yeah. Couldn't use the balls, obviously the balls were size 4s. This is the God honest truth, so we used to train in the JMO. And at
St. Helens Town? Training in the JMO?
Yeah, we used to train in the JMO, yeah. Yeah, we used to train in the JMO. And we used to, I used to go out behind the fence after training and then go, hey, there's a ball here. I used to collect balls from, there's a little brook at the side. For people in Skem, they know it's like the sort of the TPT was there and the JMO's here. There's a little brook there, like reeds. And I used to go honestly like a tramp. And I'd be in there going, yeah, there's a ball there, do you know what I mean? Wow. And that's the control of truth that. We hardly had none of the gear and like that, and we had an unbelievable season. Like I say, we missed out 1 point in the playoffs. It was the final game of the season. We played 3 of the 4 teams that were in the playoffs or thereabouts in our last 5 games. It was Stockport Town, we beat them. Bake Up, we beat them. And Barnton, who then went on to be Witness. They were the same, like Kev Towie and all that at the time. And we beat them. And we had Hanley Town. We were playing at Prescott Cables at the time. And we had Hanley Town, final game of the season, who had to win the league. And we needed a point
to get in the playoffs. And again, you know, we had a
young side, don't get me wrong, very good side. You know, the lads who play there, like Stephen McBees, Andy Gillespie, we'll go on talk about Andy later, the best centre forward I've ever worked with. Yeah. Absolute goal machine. Sam Sheen, Aaron Morris, Chad White. These are all the type of lads that played for me at St. Helens for zero money, do you know what I mean? And we lost 2-0, got beat by Hanley 2-0. A penalty and a free kick it was. Theo Stair scored both. And we ended the game with 9 men, but it weren't like through bad tackles, like last ditch tackles, you know what I mean? But yeah, we lost the game, and I got speaking to them at the end of the game, and he was saying like they were on £200 a man win bonus, including staff, as well as the wages that they got, you know what I mean? And yeah, they beat us, and it was a bit of a sour moment, you know what I mean? But we were hoping to progress the season after, but it didn't quite work out like that. I left early days. Yeah. The relationship between myself and the secretary was not working.
Not working. Is that the PG way of putting it? Not working.
Yeah. when you contact a secretary on a you know, like especially for Saturday morning. You know what I mean? Saturday morning you can sign a play before 12 o'clock, and I'm saying to him, look, I can remember the players in question. It was Dale Corey Butler. We were signing Dale Corey Butler. Luke Edwards, who's now the manager at Rainhill.
Oh yeah.
We were signing them 2 from Witness. Joey Dunn had just got the Witness job, and basically I had them try like he said, I'll let them come and say, oh, Paul Carney, who's the other lad, what a player, fantastic player, good lad. And I said to him, like, look, we need to get these lads, excuse me, signed on. And he said to me, I'm busy. I was like, what do you mean you're busy? Like, he said, I'm taking the dog for a walk. So I was like, well, can Alan not do it? Alan's not doing it, he's got a fax machine, can he not? No, needs my signature. Now it's only now knowing as experience as a manager, it can be anybody at the club who can sign, it doesn't just have to be the secretary, it can be the chairman, it can be the manager who signs the forms, but back then it was my way or the highway type thing, you know what I mean? And I was like, and it was like fine, right? We did end up getting them, but it started getting too rocky, do you know what I mean? And everything that I asked, and at the time the then chairman, I had a little conversation with him, and I just said to him, I said, look, it's not going to work, like. And he said, if you're asking me, Nick, if it's going to be him or you, I'd have to say you to go, like. And I went, no problem. And I think he tried to call me bluff, and I said, no problem. I said, after the Bake-Up game on Saturday, I said, I'll be stepping down. And it was like a big sort of like, well, and then like I had a couple of the fellas who were like, lads, that's you really going? I was like, yeah. And then I resigned that evening, and lucky enough, I was resigned for 12 minutes. And I had a text message off Joey Dunn. Would they be interested in going to witness and helping out? So it was like an in-between role between coaches and assistant manager.
Yeah.
And he was dead honest. He said, like, listen, there's nobody at this level who's got better recruitment than yourself, you know what I mean? He said everyone knows that you're really, really good at recruitment, so you're an up-and-coming young manager and all like that. So to go from being a manager of a first team to going like, well, not even like sort of assistant, and not even a coach sort of thing. They did a little bit of coaching, but it was mainly that. Most people would have saying, but I wanted to work with Joey and Stu. Joey and Stu and Fries, I had a load of respect for.
Yeah.
And the stuff I learned off them fellas was pivotal to what I then went on to carry on and achieve as a manager then, because I was then a manager. Once I left that club, I was a manager then from then on.
Do you look at like leaving St Helens and think, I wish that wouldn't have happened, or you're one of them who's not, you don't look back, you look just like straightforward?
Listen, we all have regrets in life, you know what I mean? Do I regret it? No. Did it make me a better person? Yeah. Did I get a chance to work with Joey Dunn, Stu and Fries and stuff like that? Yeah. But, you know, I took, well, it's not even a gamble. It wasn't a gamble. I wanted to work with them lads. I didn't have to, you know what I mean? They were fellas that I held up here and still do, you know what I mean? I don't really speak to them as much as what I used to and stuff like that, like, but I respect them. And, you know what I mean? Respect's a massive thing to me, do you know what I mean? And so I don't have regrets on that side to it. Where to see where the club is now, and, you know, I never fell out with the club. I fell out with one individual at the club. And
they have half nosed a little bit, haven't they? To be fair.
Yeah.
That's not even disrespectful.
No,
you know what I mean?
It's true. They have. You know what I mean? I think, I'll be brutally honest with you. I think last season, so we've been gone 5. Well, this would have been season 6. So in the 5 seasons previous, I think they only beat our points total last year in 5 seasons of what we got in 1. Oh,
okay. So like all together.
Points, yeah, because they've struggled at the bottom. I think they finally got relegated, unfortunately for the club, because it's a good club. There's some good people at the club, do you know what I mean? But they dodged relegation for, I think it was 2 seasons in a row. Where
it's COVID, wasn't it?
COVID and the season before, they didn't have a relegation.
Yeah, because the restructure, wasn't it?
Good enough. Yeah. So, you know, it was always gonna eventually catch up with them, like.
So after St Helens then, where did you go from there?
That's when we went to Witness. So I went to Witness with Joey and Stu.
Yeah, at Witness, obviously, like you weren't a manager and that. Tell us what your time at Witness, like, what was the pull for you so much to go and work with Joey and Stu and not be a manager?
Do you know what? It was a club on the up. It was a club on the up, you know what I mean? Joey, listen, Joey could have rung me and said to me, look, come here, you come in, pump up some balls. I probably would have
come on, brush the grass.
Honestly, you know, it spoke to him. You know, I've pitted my wins against him, like when we were at St Helens with no money, and he was at Runcorn Linnets, and they had a decent budget and good lads, you know what I mean? And we always had good games with them, you know what I mean? Like, I think we were beating them one time, I can't remember if it was 1-0 or 2-1, and Tomo scored in injury time, you know what I mean? I was like, it would have been a massive scalp that Joey Dunn's team, like, sort of thing. But yeah, the club was on the up, you know, you turn up the stadium, you know what I mean? It was a proper stadium, isn't it? You know what I mean? The stadium there. A couple of my lads had already gone there, the 2 Lomax brothers. I'd already signed for them. When I went there, then it was Sam Sheen, and then, you know, it was a team definitely on the up, like, and as I say, you know, we went in, and I think I went in the end of September, early October. We were 24 points behind the Remy. I think 3 games in hand, something like that, and we ended up winning the league. I think it was by 8 points. We had that unbelievable. It only got beat the other year, I'd say, the record. We won the last 14 games on the bounce. And it was mad, you know, because we toyed with, we played like it went really a 4-2-3-1 then back then, but it was, you know, when sort of a system that got used. We played with 3 at the back, and then the last 14 games we just stripped it right back, and Joe just went, right, we're going 4-4-2. We're going 4-4-2. We're just going to work hard, and we put all, like, a couple of the flair lads were like dropping out the side. He put a load of grafters in, you know what I mean, and we won the league, you know what I mean. It was like it was a fantastic achievements, and, you know, I always remember they took a picture at the end, and he said, yeah, you lads get together, and was a picture taken, and there was myself, Paul Jones, Sam Sheen, Chad White, George Lomax, Chris Lomax, or the league trophy. And it was like a sort of thing like, look what you could have won. After sort of St Helens. We actually beat St Helens. So I left St Helens that year, went to Widnes. We beat St Helens at Widnes. I think we beat them. Was it 8 or 9-1 as well? So it was sort of bittersweet. You know what I mean? I was gutted for Alan. Yeah. Because Alan sort of stayed on with Lee Jenkinson. They stayed on and I left. It was bittersweet. So yeah, we won the league. So yeah, it turned out to be a fantastic move.
Because then I think me and Caleb came in after I'd come back from America. Must have been around. We spoke in the July, didn't we?
Yeah.
And then it wasn't much longer that you were there, was it?
No. So what happened? Obviously, so year 2, we went into year 2. Obviously, got promoted to the Premier, North West Counties Prem, and out of the blue, I didn't know nothing about it until it happened. Joe resigned.
Yeah.
Now, to be brutally honest, he's never really. He's that type of fella. He never really disclosed why he had a disagreement with the balls or whatever, and that was it. He's not the type of person to go slacking people off or anything like that. But Joe resigned. So obviously Stu's his best mate. He went. I was in Tenerife on holiday. It was my mate's 40th. So me, my missus, and his missus was just away, and I got a phone call off Kev. To be brutally honest, Joe had always said to me, he said, "This will probably be your job one day." He went, "I'll probably move upstairs. This will be your job. You're a good young manager coming through and all like that." And I was like, "All right, okay, yeah, that'd be nice, sort of thing." And then to be fair, Kev Towie and Stiachrig got the job. Who were 2 of our players the season before, and Kevin spoke to me. I was in Tenerife, and then to be fair, Achers rang me as well. And he said, "Look, we want you to stay. Be assistant manager. We're both going to be like joint managers and all like that." And I agreed. I did agree to it. But it didn't sort of work out, and it's nothing to do with the lads or anything like that. I just felt like I was a spare part. I just thought it was like a bum on seat, you know what I mean? I weren't doing any of the training, I weren't really having an input into the squad or anything like that, you know what I mean? I speak to, like, as a manager, that's one thing that I've always done. You speak to your assistants. Well, what's the point of having them if you're not going to use your assistant to ask them for anything?
It does sound like quite a spare part role, especially when there's 2 managers.
Yeah,
you don't really need an assistant manager, do you?
Do you know what? And if I weren't going to stay, I weren't going to stay. Do you know what I mean? But Rossi, the chairman, asked me would I help out with the development squad, which I did, and that's when I called in yourself and Caleb. Do you know what I mean? But you were there. It was a rough league, weren't it? That Warrington league, and we had a young side, and we were getting lads sent off, weren't we? We were getting young lads sent off because they were looking after themselves. We were getting bullied, weren't we? Do you know what I mean? And
there was a couple of things, wasn't there, that happens, and it was like, obviously, like I said last week, we won't go into them, but yeah, it weren't fantastic, was it? No,
I just think, listen, it was an idea that was definitely worth trying.
Yeah.
It was worth trying by the club, you know what I mean? And like I said, I've got no hard feelings towards Widnes Football Club, but like that, I had a fantastic, say, 13, 14 months there, do you know what I mean? But Bearsco approached Widnes and said, like, we want to have a chat with Nick Matthews to become the manager. So they've done it properly, you know what I mean? Then Kevin messaged me and said, look, they've come in for you, we've accepted, we're happy to have a talk, just let us know what you're going to do. And then I accepted the job and then moved on to the next club.
Did you jump at the chance early to go there? Because was that around the time they were thinking about going from the old ground to the new ground and redeveloping and stuff?
Do you know what? At the time it weren't. It was not to the new ground at the time, but it was a chance to be closer back home. You know what I mean? I live in Skeb, you know what I mean? And it was like, although it was like, it was like the derby rivals and stuff like that, Bearsco are notorious a big club. Everyone knows Bearsco are a big club. They were bottom of the league. They had, it was it 12 points from 19 games they were bottom of the league. But a proper old ground, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was
solid, you go in the dugout and you come out the dugout and you went up the tunnel and manager's office was there, secretary's office was there, it was all under the stands. And
some of the kids now would probably look at it and think, shit, all that.
Yeah,
it's like a proper ground.
You don't understand, mate, it's nostalgia, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's the same, I did say earlier on before about me being an Evertonian and that, you know what I mean? And Goodison is falling apart, you know what I mean? But it's our stadium. I am looking forward to the new ground, but it's still that sort of thing, you know what I mean? You look at them wooden seats, you know, I know all the cop-outs go to Wooderson and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But it's ours, and that's the way it was. So yeah, it was the layer of a big club, and then I'm being a manager again, you know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, I think I'm ready now. I've worked under Joey for 14 months, and I was ready to move on.
It's like that thing, isn't it? You go back in and you learn and doing stuff, and then you think, right, well, sound, I'm ready to go and back, like, have another go again, type of thing.
Well, 100%. I'd never really wrote down a team talk or anything before then, ever. You know, you normally stand there, you go off cuff, do you know what I mean? But that was something that I learned off Joe. So Joe used to Joe, to be fair, Joe's very, very good. He's very, very good at psychology and stuff like that. And he'd have like 2 sides of A4 and he'd just read it out. And they were brilliant, you know what I mean? And one thing that, like, you know, I'm telling you, when he spoke, everyone listened.
Yeah.
You know, the man used to turn up, we used to turn up a witness, and he'd just say, right, 20 lads in the squad, 20 lads would turn up, only 16 got picked. I'll be honest with you, I've never had the balls to do that, like, you know what I mean, and go, yeah, you 4 aren't even in the squad, you know what I mean? We told a name and, like, obviously a 16-man squad, and like that, but Joe did. 20 lads used to turn up, and 4 lads would be in the squad, and you know what I mean, and he used to give them the option, right, yeah, you get changed and go and do some doggies, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some lads did, some lads didn't, you know what I mean? So I sort of took that a little bit on board to him. So I used to, like, write down the thing, stuff like that, little notepad, do stuff like that. The way he was with his man management was next to none, do you know what I mean? But he also took no shit as well, do you know what I mean? And that was something that I sort of learned as well. I thought, you know what? So I did learn a lot, like, from him. I couldn't speak highly enough of him, to tell you the truth.
So your time at Bearscough then, when you moved there, obviously as the manager, what was it like there? How was your record, wins, stuff like that?
Yeah, well, I've had 2 stints. So stint 1, as I say, like I said, to the bottom of the league. They've got 12 points on 19 games. We goes in. I'd signed 5 lads straight away. I signed 5 lads that had played for me previous. Our other clubs brought in like Chad White.
I was about to say that, I remember seeing that name, like, on Twitter and stuff a lot.
So I signed Chad White. I got Chad from, believe it or not, I actually signed Chad. He was playing for Billings. I signed him obviously for St Helens, but I signed him from Billings, playing for Billings, but I'd seen his goal scoring record. He'd scored, I think it was 104 goals in 2 seasons for Leeds Genesis Sunday League side. And I was like, that kid knows where the onion bag is. I said, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what level you're playing at, he knows where the net is. And I brought him in. And as I say, I had him at St Helens, but then he got a good move to Marine. Did get a good move to Marine, but then when I went to Bearscough, did he sign? No, yeah. So we got him at Widnes. We ended up with him at Widnes, because I'd spoke to him, like, he was mainly a sub at Marine. And then we got him in, and then he was the first lad that I went for, do you know what I mean, put 7 days in, and like I said, Kevin and Ackles were brilliant with me, do you know what I mean, said, yeah, no problem. Signed in Chad White, signed in Anthony Whelan, Ben Maddox, a couple of others, can't remember off the top of my head, can't remember, Matty Ward come in, so we signed a couple of lads, and do you know what, it was tough straight away, you know what I mean, and the pitch weren't the best, but we had a decent return. We got I had 19 points from 10 games. So it moved them from bottom of the league. I think we were 15th, so we were out at the relegation going, we were doing all right. And I never forget, I just signed Jordan Dar, who's obviously scoring loads of goals for Charnock.
Yeah.
He's injured at the minute. So I signed Jordan Dar and a lad called Tyler Rufus from Chorley. Chorley and Swales, my mate Dave Chadwick was like the manager there. So I just signed them 2. Brought them in so that we were going to start, and I said to them, I said, just wait until, give me a couple of weeks and we'll start adding proper players. I'll start being able to get the lads in from other clubs and all like that, because Bearscough had a really, really bad reputation, you know what I mean? They bumped lads' wages like in previous leagues and like in season and stuff, so it was like a poison chalice. So you're there trying to like sell it to lads, oh, yeah, come play for us and all like that, you know, 50 quid, something like that, and they were like, nah lad, they don't pay you. Not going there, do you know what I mean? So it was a bit of a hard one to get certain lads in, so it was mainly lads that I knew, and they sort of trusted me more than they trusted the club. And like I say, yeah, good return, 19 points in 10 games, and we played Charnock Richard twice in them 10 as well, and they battered us, I think they beat us 4-2 away, but we drew them 1-1 at home, and we actually scored a late goal and got disallowed, and just getting ready to go to training. Like, we were training on Edge Hill at the time, and got a phone call off Dave Sutton, who was the director of football, so to speak, And he just said, "Hiya mate." This was the conversation. "Hiya mate, you okay?" I said, "Yeah." He went, "Listen, I'm going to call it a day." And I said to him, "All right, Dave, sorry to hear that, mate." He went, No, I'm going to call it a day." I said, "What do you mean, us?" And he said, yeah. "Thanks for all your help. Bye now." That was it. Done. He made himself manager. He made himself the manager of the football club, and like that was it. I was just sacked.
You see that quite a bit, to be fair, don't you? Of like these people going into footy clubs and then getting themselves on the board or getting like a director of football thing, and then all of a sudden the gaffer gets sacked and they're the manager.
I think that was his fourth stint, because when Mark Beasley was there, do you know what I mean? He got beaten in the playoffs, and the lads didn't get paid, and he made himself manager there. And when Dave Powell come in and Dave Powell got sacked, he made himself manager there, and he's been manager of the club 5 or 6 times, you know what I mean? And never done well, sort of thing, you know what I mean? But the chairman, well, he weren't the chairman, the owner of the club was friends with him, and yeah, he believed in anything that he said, and yeah, I was sacked, I was done.
Wow. I remember speaking to you in that like incident thing, in that period of when it ended up Bearscow, and then you started everyone's favourite club, Pilks. Was Pilks next?
I was at Pilks, yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's favourite fucking place. I remember speaking to you. That was planned. Was it planned that you were going there?
Yeah. So what happened was, obviously when I left Bearscow, I got approached by Pilks. The plan was we had to win the last 7 games to get promoted. The plan was
Bearscow.
No, at Pilks.
Oh yeah.
So we had to win the 7 games to get promoted into the Cheshire. Is it the Prem? It's Prem, isn't it? Because you had to be in the Cheshire Prem, because they were pushing to go for the Northern Counties. So I was like, right, I said, okay, we'll go in. So I went in. It was with Steve Palfrey.
Were they in the Prem, sorry? Or were they
No, they were in the First Division.
First Division,
in the First Division. So I went in, and they had a couple of good lads. There was a couple of good lads already there. And again, you know, took in the likes of Ben Maddox and a couple of lads that I knew that could do the job. We signed, I think, Kane Gerald. Not a specimen for a man, he is like absolute unit. We signed out 5 lads, got them in, and we were lucky enough to win the 7 games. I think we finished runners up in the league. I think we couldn't win the league anyway. We couldn't win, obviously, mathematically, but we won promotion. And then the plan was always to be, you know, speaking to the chairman Jimmy, it was then to take over the manager next year, which you know I'd done, which was good. Done all the pre-season. Pre-season went well. I said to him, look, we're going to have to sign some Scouse lads. The plan of action sort of was, and listen, this isn't slagging the club or anything like that, but the plan of action is they wanted to be the best club in the area. So obviously you've got FC St Helens, you've obviously got Pilkingtons, and then you had St Helens Towns. At the time, St Helens Town on the main side. So the plan was to always be the best side. The plan was always to be as many local players as possible. They wanted to try and get the best St Helens based players in there, which, listen, that's not a problem. That's not a problem. And I did say to him, I said, but listen, I'm going to have to sign quite a few Scousers. I said, to win this Cheshire Prem, we're going to need Scouse lads. I said, you're going to need tough lads, you're going to need lads that run for the wall for you, do you know what I mean, stuff like that. And they agreed with it. And, you know, we had a decent pre-season. Season started off, I think we were fourth in the league. We played about 6 or 7 games, but we played all the sides that were fancied. We had a couple of draws in there, but it was, do you know what? It was bizarre. It was a bizarre place to be, because I ended up being, you know what I mean. So from being a manager in the North West Counties Premier Division to going into being a manager in the Cheshire Prem and having to write out team sheets, fill water bottles, you know, do the team talk, do all the training. I basically had to do everything. Now, listen, it's all well and good. You can be like, some people like to be fully in control, but you'd like to think somebody would take the thing. And to be fair, the only fella that really helped me was actually Pal's dad. He was an absolutely brilliant fella. Absolutely, he'd say to me, what are you doing, filling water bottles? Yeah. Well, there's no one else doing them. And he said, I'll do them. You go over there. Because this was like during warm-ups. I think we played, was at Middlewich. We played, whoever it was, we played at home. And we had 9 balls, and 8 of them ended up over the back fence. And they were like in the brook or anything like that. And no one went and got them. That was the final nail in the coffin. Like, I had to come out the dugout, walk obviously right the way down to the bottom, right away across the length of the pitch, out through the changing rooms, around across the bowling green, over the wall. I was collecting balls. I was actually in the brook of me shoes and socks off, getting balls while the game's going on. The game is still going on, and there was about 8 or 9 members of previous management, board members or whatever, all sat in the stands, and I've got to be honest, I did come off. I was fuming. We 2-0. I went into the change rooms, and I did let rip, like, you know what I mean? Not the lads. I just said, look, this is what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? I'm going to have a good think about it over the weekend, and I'll probably step away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't sort of work under these conditions and stuff like that. And one of the players went into the clubhouse and sort of let them know. I got a phone call off Jimmy. Again, no hard feelings, still see Jimmy. You know what I mean? I'll always let on to him and that. There's no hard feelings, it's football. I won't fall out with people over football. But he just said, listen, it's up to you. We understand that you're frustrated. You can either, he said, I don't want to sack you. He said, but if you want to resign, I'll accept it.
So basically saying...
So I said, thank you very much for your time, and that was it.
What is Pilk's big issue with Scousers? Because you said this on your episode last week that you had to tell them you were bringing Scousers in. What do you think the issue is with Scousers? I know you said they wanted to have local lads, but were they so against it?
Some clubs in that area are like that, aren't they? They want lads from that specific demographic, don't they? They don't want lads being brought in from Bootle to play for that.
I think it's a lot of it is fan base and stuff. It is fan base, you know what I mean? So if you've got a local lad playing for your side, that might put an extra 20 lads on the gates.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Lads from like his mates and stuff like that. So, you know, I've got to be honest, I always try to sign lads like, you know, like you're thinking, right, you don't want to be signing lads from 30 miles. When I was at St Helens, Bearscough, I used to say roughly 20-mile radius. Yeah. We're in the middle, circle 20 miles. Do you know what I mean? So it's fair for everyone. We're training at this venue. Everyone's got to get there. You know, you can't expect the lads to come from all the way from Manchester to train in Skem. You know what I mean? Like 9 till 10.
For an hour.
You know, he's getting home and later that. So you've got to sort of do it for yourself. Like, but like I said to you, I couldn't tell you. You know, I haven't got the answer for that. You know, you might have to speak to someone close to the club there. Like, but there was definitely more or less a bit of an issue while I was there over that.
How many footies went in the Brook?
8.
8?
8 out of 9.
That's probably fucking half the bag that they accused me of robbing.
So the next ball that went over, there's no match ball. I had no choice. Honestly, it sounds mad. And listen, there'll be lads who sat in the dugout will actually say, nah, it's 100% true. You know, people might go, that's not true.
No.
Trust me, it's true. I don't need to lie. You know what I mean? I'm not gaining anything from lying. You know what I mean? I'm not publicly slamming the club or something like that. That was something that factually happened. Do you know what I mean? And I just thought, nah, this isn't me. And to be fair, the next day, it was a day later, there was a manager appointment, and one lad who I'd asked to come and do his coach for me, he was a local Pilks lad, and he said he was too busy. He then became first team coach.
If we heard that story, Jay.
At least you got a day. I got 45 minutes, something like that.
I'd seen that. I actually seen that because I remember messages saying what's happened there, and I'd seen Marcy had got it like.
Yeah, well, I'm over it anyway. So after Pilks then, am I right, Bearscough? Went back to Bearscough?
Yeah.
So that's the one where there was all the redevelopments and stuff, wasn't it, in the new grounds and that?
Yeah. So met with the chairman.
How did that, sorry to interrupt you, how did that come about? Because obviously that fella had done that. Was Dave Sutton or something had done that? Was it a different chairman or? No. So we went in. So I'd met Paul Bowles by then, and I brought Paul in to play for me at Pilks. Do you know what I mean? And I knew he knew his footy and all like that. So I'd said to him, "Do you fancy it?" Like, you know what I mean? I got approached. It was actually the club secretary, Steve Halliwell. He said to him, "Look, you know, who do you think?" And he went, "You know, so we just go back and get Nick. He done a really good job here last time." He said, just make sure you keep him away from him, like, you know what I mean? So I met up with him. Me and Paul Bowles met up with him in a pub up in Hesketh Bank or somewhere like that. Met up with the director of football and the club owner.
We had a good chat. I wanted reassurances. I actually signed a 3-year contract, believe it or not, and they actually gave me. I said, look, I want a 3-year contract. I said, this isn't going to be changed. I said, you've got to give me a year to get lads in. You've got to give us a year as a club to allow people to believe that the infrastructure is right. People aren't going to get bumped for money. They're going to be getting paid, I said, because the club's got such a bad reputation. I said, I haven't got a bad reputation. Paul Bowles hasn't got a bad reputation. You have as a club. I said, you have, everyone thought you were the chairman, Martin Gilchrist. God love him, he's passed away earlier on this year, like, you know what I mean. But yeah, and they agreed, and, you know, we signed. Listen, the money I got, I wouldn't be able to buy a yacht, but it was, you know, it was recognition of, hold on, we'll pay it. We actually said how much we'd do it for, me and Paul, and they both said, oh, fantastic, we thought you wanted more than that. Me and Bars just looked at each other like, no, we've done ourselves there, like, but yeah, so we had a 3-year plan. We had a 3-year plan, and, you know what I mean, year one, it was tough. It was very, very tough, because, like I said, yeah, you know, the club had such a bad reputation. And, you know, what a fantastic, only small but fantastic fan base. You know, they used to have a massive fan base. You know, you'd be one at Wembley and everything, you know what I mean? But the fan base at the time, and the couple of cracking fellas that were there and that. And yeah, so we had a bit of a tough time. It come to Christmas. I always remember it got to Christmas time, and we were looking over how we thought, we weren't exactly here. We were definitely looking. We got off to a good start. Had a couple of loan lads in, got like Mucker in and all like that in from Runcorn Linnets and stuff like that. Louis Hayes, who's flying at Runcorn Linnets now, great player. We had him, and he was at Chester at the time. Yeah. We got him in a loan, on a youth loan from Chester. So we got off to a good start, and then the lads started getting picked off, and, you know, wages, which was going to happen. Although we paid half decent money, it weren't great. And then it come Christmas time, and we were looking over our shoulders, and I'd said to them, you know, just give us a couple more weeks. I said, I'll start getting lads in. I'll start getting the lads in, because they're not playing now at the clubs. And rightly so, we did. We brought in Jack Fleming, brought in Kevin Pollard, brought in like Luke Gibson. I mean, we started bringing in lads like that, and then sure enough, the tide changed. Yeah. You know what I mean? We started winning games, and then, you know what happened then? COVID hit, didn't it? You know what I mean? So we were winning games, we were doing well, and then COVID hit.
Killer. Literally.
Yeah. It was awful.
Do you feel like you've lost then? Obviously, it's not even like, do you feel you haven't you? You've lost like two seasons worth of footy. I remember coming down after we had the first lockdown, life went back to, say, normal, when everything opened up. Then we had all that over Christmas, and then we had the lockdown again. I remember coming down after the third lockdown, there was a cup final. I think St Helens 18s were in it.
Yeah.
I remember coming down then. Even then, like, no disrespect to them, it still looked like half like a building site.
No, it is.
Do you know what I mean?
It still is. You know, that's the only sad thing about it. Like, to be brutally honest, like I said, so we had the season where we played, well, the second season for COVID, did we play, it was 3 games. 3 games, and COVID kids in it again, and it was a season end.
We had to stop in November, didn't we? And then it was, you stop in November, then Christmas, so you're not playing any games.
Yeah.
Then they weren't locking down, and they did lock down. So it was like, no one knew, did they?
So it was ended, so it was done. So we done like 2 seasons, not even completed.
Yeah.
Like anything. Third season come in, again, made some good signings, you know, brought in big Josh Qualis. What a player, what a lad, you know what I mean? Fantastic lad, flying at the minute at 1874. Declan Daniels, Jack Hunt, Ryan Smith, Mitchell Kinsella, you know what I mean? We brought in some really, really good lads, you know what I mean? And it had a good feeling around the club. But like you said, the club itself, we had City Liverpool were actually meant to be coming down. That's what I don't understand. Like Skemmer obviously playing there now, but City Liverpool comes down because obviously they did that fallout or whatever happened, that bootle. So they had no ground. So City Liverpool were going to come down and they were going to share the ground with us, which was we were amazed up about it, you know what I mean? Because like, again, Ello was the gaffer, he was my mate, I'd sent lads to Ello had sent lads to me, you know what I mean? And I said, like, he said, what day was saying? I said, same days us, on Tuesday, Thursday, we had half a bit each, you know what I mean? And it was, we were, as managers, we were looking forward to it, going, it'll be all right, that won't it, you know what I mean? And then the MPL comes out and said, nah, you've got no stand behind the goal, tickets office, and that isn't done and all like that. And he said, so we'll get that sorted, no problem and all like that. And he said, right, okay, went forward, he went next Friday. Gave them like a week to do it, and he was like, that's like impossible. It was it was impossible. It was impossible for him to do, you know what I mean?
Put a new stand-in, build it, in a week.
Just impossible to do, you know what I mean? It's all about moving goalposts, that was well and truly. So obviously City Liverpool had to pull out, and that's when they ended up at Vauxhall's, which he lost a big chunk of the fan base then, do you know what I mean? But as I say, Skemmer playing there now in the same league.
Without all that?
Without all that.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad, like...
So whether the rulings change or what, I don't know, do you know what I mean? And listen, I'm a Skemmer lad. I love Skemmer United Football Club, like I say, you know, and stuff like that. I'm not having to get them, but it just seems weird that it weren't good enough for City Liverpool back then, and there's nothing changed. Yeah. Like, my half fella was he was like the janitor there, so he made the tickets office and done all like that, but there's still no bar there and like that. The club's making no money, makes no money at all. Yeah, so I remember, like I said, I remember speaking to you there, and I remember saying, what's this it? It's just got like the changes, haven't you? Just like a little hut, a stand, and then the pitch. Yeah, but the mad thing is, you know, there was a couple of locals, they were like, it was bad, it was poisonous there, you know what I mean? And like, again, it went towards me, or my players, or my staff, but it was poisonous. You know what I mean? They had a little bit of a core fan base, and then they had like the BISA lads, which is the Basco Independent Support Association, which fell out with both Dave Sutton and Martin. There was massive fallouts. And yeah, it was bad, you know what I mean? And you always be on Twitter, it's just a plastic pitch with a fence around it. And you know what I mean? And we were like, it was good, don't get me wrong, but that is the best 4G pitch in the Northwest by a mile, mate. It is. It could be an unbelievable setup. Yeah, I think, eventually, you know, we had a side there, we built a side together that was going to go places. Yeah. Listen, it was, but like I say, me end of me stint there was sour. It was sour because, you know, it got to a point where, you know, I'm getting quizzed over like signing lads like Vinnie Bailey and Sam Sheen and Jack Hunt. You know what I mean? Like the director of football's like saying, you know, why is he not asking me if he can sign these players? So I had a meeting with the director of football and the owner, and I said, and like I was dead honest, and I said, do you know what actually a director of football is supposed to do? And he was like, what do you mean? And I said, the director of football, I tell you what I want, so I say, I need a right back. You go and find the right back, you sort out all the wages and all like that, and then he comes in and plays. I said, you work under a manager, not the other way round. And then it was like, yeah, but Nick, he's played professional football. I said, yeah, he retired in 85. Football's changed. Yeah. It's changed. He used to say to me, you should name your team on a Thursday night. And I said, why is that? He said, well, you've seen them train. I said, yeah, but these lads have got jobs. So if I suddenly name a 16-man squad, and then 4 of them are ill, something like that, and then I ring up a lad and go, look, can you come play? Nah, Nick, it's all the time now. I'm working. These lads work. They have full-time jobs, you know what I mean? And I was like, nah. So it was at loggerheads. He's probably gone off the factor because he used to be a pro footy player. Wherever he was, the gaffer had named the team on a Thursday. Yeah. So everyone should do that because it's done in the pro game. It doesn't work like that. And like I say, you know, we were sort of banging heads together and stuff. And I'm not a yes man. I never have been a yes man. Well, I am. I'm a yes man to me missus and my daughter. But that's about it, you know what I mean? You know, and I was like, nah, it's not me. And, you know, I can find it in Bowes. Gareth, my coach and that. And I just said, like I'm done sort of thing. And I went on gardening leave, as they call it. Paul stayed on. You know what I mean? I was a bit upset at the time, I'll be honest with you. Yeah. You know, if you ever get Paul on the podcast, he'll probably admit it. I was upset at the time because, you know, he was my number 2. The coach left straight away. Nah, I'm not there. A couple of lads left. You know, a couple of players went, nah, we signed because the physio left. Listen, Paul decided to stay, and, you know, again, it's 18 history. You know, we've spoke since, and it's gone, do you know what I mean? And Basco ended up having they were brilliant until Christmas, but then after Christmas sort of tailed off, and I think that showed then that, you know, it's not just about, you know, picking a team and that, you've got to replenish, you know, like so Josh had left and Jack Daniels had left and other players had left the side by this point, and you've got to be able to recruit and keep recruiting, do you know what I mean? But, you know, it was a good season for the club. The club had finished in the bottom 3 for the previous 6 probably seasons, something like that. I think they'd had 2 relegations in between them from like the NPL working their way down, and they finished 6th in the North West Counties, which was a fantastic return.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I never got much credit for that, like considering like I'd built them up the side, like so bittersweet sort of thing.
LR, were they next?
Yeah, so
one thing I will say about LR is you kept yourself very, very busy at LR because you'd done the first team obviously, and then you were doing Herald as well, wasn't it, on the the kid, the 17s on a Sunday. And for anyone who does 2 days, especially anyone who's got no commitments, anyone who does 2 days who's got a missus and a kid, like fair play to you, because that's a lot of work. That.
Yeah, do you know what? I'll be honest with you. Well, I work with my day-to-day job is working with adults with additional needs and mental health. So that's my day-to-day job, and you know I work 24-hour shifts. You know what I mean? So when you do a 24-hour shift, I normally do 2 24-hour shifts a week, and then maybe a day shift. So I have got 4 days to myself, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Now my missus never ever been a football widow. She's never ever been a football widow. She just likes me being out the house. That's why I think that's why we're both so happy. You know what I mean? And she knew when she met me, I was still playing then. Do you know what I mean? And she knows, like, you know, I'm not one of the fellas. I don't go drinking in pubs and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'll occasionally have a pint, like if somebody, you come out for a pint, but you know, most fellas go like every Friday, every Saturday, Sunday. I don't. So any time that I'm not at work or at football, I do spend with my family. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it was how it come about. Steve Halliwell again, the club secretary from Bearsco, had left and gone to LR, and LR they were in a bit of a difficult situation. You know what I mean? Again, no budget at all. Yeah. There was I think there was 3 players who were getting paid, 4 players getting paid at the time, and no one else was. And listen, it was a very, very difficult job. It was very difficult, and that's nothing to do with the club itself. The chairman, Sean Lynch, fantastic fella. You know what I mean? They've got very similar to Bearsco. They've got a very, very tight based fan base sort of thing. You know what I mean? And 4 or 5 of them are still there from when I was there all them years ago when I first started. Yeah. And listen, I hope the club eventually does well. Do you know what I mean? They've got a little bit of a budget now. You know what I mean? But it's still right near the bottom considering to where it could be. But yeah, we went in there and we had a target of, did we say 24 points? I think we had a target of 24 points with the kept us up. Definitely mathematically possible. And I think we got 21.
You go down to the last day or something?
We actually stayed up on points per game.
Yeah.
Stayed up on the points per game, which was, you know, we hadn't won that one. It was, to be fair, the very last game of the season was ourselves against Aston Town. And Aston pipped us 2-1. And obviously the lads were devastated, really down. And I'd been told a couple of weeks earlier, but I didn't want it to drop into the dressing room, that we were going to stay up on points per game. Yeah. But you still want to win every game, don't you? I would have liked to beat Aston that last game of the season, gone when we stayed up anyway. Yeah. I've come here and done the job, and you know the plan was to progress the club this year, and it probably hasn't worked out the way it was. It's a difficult place to get to. I don't drive. You know, I'm getting trained to training, and I could always get a lift home, but might not get lifts there, and it was difficult. And well, to be fair, the first season, you know, we had a bit of I had to do 2 rebuilds. So obviously I went and rebuild, obviously when Warren Jones first left, went in there, a couple of lads left, and a couple of lads signed for like Days Hill where Warren was coaching, which is fine. Yeah. At this level, players do follow managers, they follow coaches, that's part and parcel of it. It was very, very hard because there was no budget. I couldn't take any Scousers. You know, the Scouse lads aren't going to travel from one side of Liverpool all the way up to Atherton.
No, I've been there with, as everyone's favourite club, and we had a game there, and it's like, it is a fucking bastard of a drive, like.
Yeah, it's a trek, and listen.
It's a mad ground as well, isn't it? Because it's like
lovely ground. I love it.
Like unbelievable, great setup, but fucking pitch like that.
Yeah, it's on a slope.
It's mad.
Did you know? You'd be surprised at how many teams though at this level and above. Have you ever been to Colne?
No.
Colne's worse than that.
Is it?
You score from goal kick from Colne.
When we were, I've obviously seen it on pictures and videos, like following your results and stuff like that. But actually being on there and you're looking at like the goal behind the house, behind the houses, and you're looking and you're thinking, It's like looking at that telly now. It's literally like that.
Yeah.
It's mad.
No, it is. Honestly, it's on a slope. But again, the groundsman there, Chris, work wonders. The pitch is one of the best pitches in the league. When I first went there all them years ago, there was daisies and
the pitch is brilliant. You can't
growing on the pitch. You know what I mean?
You can't fault the fella who does the pitch.
The pitch is great. It is on a slope. But they work wonders. You know what I mean? Like I said, I went in there. We signed a couple of lads, and then my assistant manager left and got the Alsager job, and about 9 lads left. 9 lads left, and so it was a rebuild again. Do you know what I mean? And luckily, a couple of lads that with Salford to possibly go to Alsager, they decided to stay. You know, 2 in particular. I mentioned them: George Chadwick, Lewis Rawstorn. Fantastic. What they've both just signed for Barn Aldrich recently. Big futures, both of them. Especially Lewis, very good player.
And then obviously doing the Sunday team.
Yeah.
But you've stepped away. You've stepped obviously not at Atherton LR now. Are you still doing the Sundays? Yeah.
So I made the decision about 8 weeks ago. I'll be dead honest with you. I had I wouldn't say ill health.
Yeah.
But I went on holiday in the summer and I got a bacterial infection. Didn't know at the time. But it was a bacterial infection of a part of the anatomy, where I had to have numerous tests where they thought it could have been prostate cancer, testicle cancer, do you know what I mean? Which was a bit of a worrying time at the time, and to be fair, the only person I knew was my missus, sort of thing, you know what I mean? And I didn't sort of lay it onto her and go, look, I might have testicle cancer or prostate cancer, you know what I mean? I didn't say that, do you know what I mean? But she knew there was a bit of a problem there, do you know what I mean? So that was a bit of a worry, you know, at the time and all like that. So I had that on. I had to worry about getting to and from the ground and stuff like that. A couple of lads that I had that normally sort of ferried me around, sort of thing. They'd moved on to other clubs, etc. So there was a bit of a time there. But I've had a hernia. I'm finally having the operation, 7th of December. So I had that coming up as well, do you know what I mean, in the back of my head, and I knew it, obviously I had that. I got the all clear, by the way, touch wood, as they say, from the other 2, you know what I mean? So, you know.
Great news, that.
It was, mate, you know what I mean? A bit of relief, you know what I mean? But the hernias caused me problems. I've not been able to train in the gym for 2.5 years. A long time ago, I was diagnosed of having a really, really high testosterone levels. And what happens is, if I'm not training, I don't have mental health, you know what I mean? I'm not saying I have suicidal thoughts or like that, but my mental health dips.
Yeah.
My missus always says to me, I just don't know what Nick I'm going to come home to or something like that, and I can go from being really, really happy and having a laugh and that to miserable in a second, and I don't even realise I'm doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So she had to put up a lot of me over that side to it, but also fatigue, absolutely knackered all the time. You know what I mean? Shattered. I get migraines because I'm tired, I don't sleep over night time and stuff like that, and it's all being down because I can't go to the gym, and because my hernia, it's big, you know, it's about the size of a baby's fist. So I finally go under the knife on the 7th of December, which, you know what I mean, it's ruined my birthday, my birthday's on the 11th, so that's ruined that, you know what I mean, and my missus normally takes me away, be spending my birthday in bed. But at the same time,
you get yourself sorted and that,
you know what I mean? And then, but yeah, so I had all that going on in my head, and I couldn't really focus on the football, so it weren't right to me. So I had a chat with Sean, and I just said, look, I think it's, you know, you should be looking for a new manager, you know what I mean? And I'll help you.
Yeah.
And, you know, I recommended a couple of lads to him and all like that, and, you know, he said to me, would I stay on as head of recruitment and youth development, which I agreed to at the time. So yeah, I said, I'll stay on and do that, but my heart went directly in it, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So to be fair, I did say to him, look, the new manager won't want someone standing over. He definitely won't the ex-manager standing over him about, we don't have that player or don't have that player. So, you know, sort of, although it got announced on the county's website and all that, it's not like I am officially
unemployed.
You know what I mean? Like I say, doing the 17s.
Do you do that with Jay still?
Yeah. Jay, like I say, I do the coaching and I'm the manager. Do you know what I mean? Jay's mainly the club secretary now. Took a step down. I'd say what a group of players. There's some lads there. There's a lad. Listen, they're all good. But there's a kid called Sam Roach. I think he play for River Juniors. What a forward.
Yeah.
Honestly, mate, he's going to he'll be a big name Scouts kid coming through, you know what I mean, in a couple of years. Another Scouts kid, he's on the bench all the time actually for Atherton with Jonesy. Steve-O, I think his name's James Stevens, I just know him as Steve-O, you know what I mean, but again, what a player. Deacon Smalley has got the best first touch of any player I've ever worked with.
Really, yeah.
He's 16 years old, I'm telling you now, his first touch is the best first touch I've never seen anything. He can be 100 foot in the air, he just takes it on his foot, first touch, bang, it's killed.
Yeah.
Ball in the air again, coming to his chest, bang, killed. His close control, he's had a little bit of a growth spurt lately. Once he fills out, these lads aren't going to be playing North West Counties. And there's even like there's Thomas Holland scored 57 for us last year from left wing. He hits a ball, it stays it, you know what I mean?
So being that I went to come to watches a couple of times last year. I think I know which one you're on about. So like black hair.
Yeah. Brilliant. And you know what? I'll be honest with you, at the time, if I weren't doing them towards the back end of last year, I might have stepped down earlier. That sort of gave me that little bit of hunger, and I thought, you know what? I want these to progress. And you know, I had to meet me last game at LR. Thomas Holland made his debut at 16, you know what I mean? He come off the bench after 20 minutes. I mean, I brought him on, you know what I mean? I said, like, just go and have a go, like, you know what I mean? And that's something that I've always done.
Yeah.
Anyone that knows me, I've always give young lads a go. You know, it's not about me. I mean, yeah, it's nice winning trophies and that, but, you know, you see managers taking credit winning trophies. The lads, as long as they take the instructions, you give them instructions, once they cross the line, they win the trophies, don't they? The manager doesn't. Do you know what I mean? I don't anyway. I've never said I've won that trophy like that. I've got a couple of medals there, do you know what I mean? Like when we won the counties and stuff like that, but I never ever took any credit for that, ever. And I still don't, do you know what I mean? And my plan was, let's get so many of these integrated into the first team, you know what I mean? And listen, that might still happen, like, but as I say, that's down to the new manager now, not down to me.
What do you enjoy more then? Obviously, do you reckon you'll go back into first team management again, but do you feel like you enjoy working with the under-17s and seeing the next best things and developing them rather than going and managing a first 11?
Yeah, good question. I'll be brutally honest. I don't think I'll manage again. I'll be honest with you, like I say, I'm 47 in a couple of weeks. You know, I've done 13 years, I think. I don't think, apart from Brent, like, and maybe Wilkesy, you know what I mean, and probably on the longest stint, you know what I mean, and I'm a lot younger than them two fellas, but, you know, I think it's sort of lost a sparkle for me, the football management side, and like what Jay said before, it is full on. It is full on, you know, your phone going and all like that, you know what I mean? I remember, like, a couple of years ago, my miss was saying to me, after 9 o'clock, your phone can go in a box. You know what I mean? I'm sick. You'll be here on your phone after 9 o'clock, and I'm like, babe, it's the most busiest time. Friday night, I said, like, it's the busiest time, you know what I mean? You're constantly doing it any night before the game. It'd have to take a really, really good job with that believes in, you know, my sort of philosophy of give these young lads a go, you know what I mean? Just because they're 17, 18 doesn't mean they're not good enough, you know what I mean? You see even keeping in the pro game now, don't you know what I mean, with these under 23s and all like that, and you know, at 22 years old, the difference is now these 22-year-old lads are driving around top of the range cars are on 40 grand a week, and they've not achieved nothing in football, do you know what I mean? You know, go back to like your Wayne Rooney's and Gerrards and that, they were given chances by managers at the time, do you know what I mean, and going, right, yeah, don't get me wrong, two absolute world-class players, but they were still given a chance, weren't they, you know what I mean, and I've always given lads a chance, you know what I mean. There was, you know, a couple of lads who've played for me over the years have gone on to play professional football. One of them actually played in the A-League in Australia for Wellington Phoenix, you know what I mean. He was a lad that we'd been released from an athletic Australian kid at LR our first time round, like called Atherton Parkhouse. He went over there and ended up playing pro and having a little decent career out of it. But so I say, no, I don't think I'll ever manage again, I'll be honest with you, unless it was something really, 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 really good. I'd be an assistant manager. I'd happily be an assistant manager. Do you know what I mean? And I don't mind assisting. You know what I mean? But
it's fucking great.
Yeah,
you just don't have all that fucking responsibility. You can just turn up, you turn up and do your session.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Go on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I do enjoy the coaching. You know what I mean? But again, even coaching's hard sometimes. You know what I mean? Like last night, I did a session last night, and we had 12 lads there, a couple of lads at that age. Now they've started working, haven't they, to get the first little jobs, and they're all working like in Mackey's or pound stretching and stuff like that, but it's money for them. Do you know what I mean? And you know,
finding the first little bed and going out and finding the ale and all
that. Yeah, and they do, you know what I mean? And, but I do think that the group of lads that we've got, I'd probably say 80% of them do want to they still got that little sort of thing. I might make it as a player. I'm not saying as a pro footballer, but you don't have to be a pro footballer now to earn a living. You know, you look at like the lads out there who are at Mac now. There's lads there on more money than me.
Yeah.
In my profession, you know what I mean? And like I say, I'm fully meds trained and everything, like, you know what I mean? I'm just like under, say, like a nurse type thing when it comes to medication, and, you know, people trusting you, and you know, you're doing finances, doing all kinds like that. And these footballers at Mac are on more money than me. Do you know what I mean? That type of thing, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, you know what I mean? I say, I do enjoy coaching. I don't, like I said, I don't think I'll manage again.
We've got about 5 minutes. And I know you want to talk about, it was Nick's idea, for anyone who likes it, is what we're going to start doing is getting the managers or the coaches who we have on to talk about their best 11 of players that they've managed. You've managed a few clubs, you've managed quite a few players. Who do you reckon would be your best 11?
We'll go with best
formation 11. First, go on.
I'd stick with 4-4-2, mate.
Bog standard.
4-4-2, you know what I mean? It's easy. I don't like when people go like...
It's just mad to me, sorry, I've just made myself laugh then. It's mad to me, Mike Bassett, you know, when he goes, we're playing 4-4-2.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. See, the thing is, the way football's changed now, like, you speak to a lad and you go like, where's your best position? They go like, number 6, number 8, number 10. I'm thinking, where did these numbers come into? Because Steven Gerrard was number 4. And number 4 is centre half. He didn't play centre half, did he? You know what I mean? So you go like, well, where's your number 10? That's just a shirt number. You know what I mean? We've got squad numbers here, so you're number 54. Where do you see yourself on the pitch? You know what I mean? So yeah, we'll go 4-4-2. I'll go with the teams that have managed. Not like, obviously we had a good side at Witness, but I weren't the manager, do you know what I mean? So, goalkeeper. I'd probably go as far as say we had a young kid at St Helens, Rory Crowder. He was only 17 at the time, and I think he saved 7 penalties for us that year. In the season when I was like, you know, and he was going to end up playing for Will when we were in the Prem before the finance league. So I'd go with Rory Crowder in goal. Right back, Aaron Morris. Aaron Morris all day, you know what I mean? What a player, you know, he's still, you know, obviously he's at Rylands now. But like I said to you, you know...
Got a brother called Adam? Got a brother?
No, but Adam Morris is a good player as well. He went up to Scotland, didn't he? No, Aaron's he plays for Rylands now, Adam. Played for FC United. So I'd go with him right back. But as I say, you know, up and coming now, is young George Chadwick. Fantastic player. Left back, probably Stephen Rigby. Played for City Liverpool at the minute. Stephen came in when he first came on trial. He came in on trial at St Helens. He said he was another one. He said he was a number 10, played behind the forwards, and he was a bit slight at the time. Do you know what I mean? But he could run, and he was quick. He was fit, good left foot. I sort of like converted him to a left back. Do you know what I mean? He seems to have played left back or left wing back ever since. Centre halves. Do you know what? I'll throw him in. There's a kid who just had Atherton now he's 18. I think he'll go pro. I put my neck up now. Abiola, Abasotto. Built like a tank, fast as anything, unbelievable left foot. There's a couple of MPL sides, put 7 days on him recently, and I believe there's a couple more to put them in this week. I'll probably go as far as him, you know what I mean? Next to him, could be Gibbo, Luke Gibson or Danny Brady. Both, you know, you say to him, I want you to do this, I want you to do that, there's no messing. Centre mids, I'd probably go Sam Sheehan and Kevin Pollard. Kevin Pollard, best captain I've ever worked with.
I've seen Pollard in a game and he just fucking flies through people. He's not one bit bothered, is he?
Hard as nails, great leader.
Yeah.
Listen, he's a leader of men. You're going in the trenches, you want Kevin Pollard with you. You know what I mean? He'll back you to the hilt. But off the pitch, what a fella, great, good with the young lads and all like that, like I say, because the job I've done, I've gone to the grounds with lads with like cerebral palsy and that, and wheelchairs and stuff like that, and you know, Kevin straight over, hey lads, how are you, and all like that. It goes a long way with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people are a bit like, a bit scared to go over and talk to him, don't know what to say. Kevin's not like that, so it'd be him and Sam Sheen. Again, Sam Sheen recently took over captain of Skep. I used to call him Machine. He's just, honestly, he's a machine, fit as anything, up and down. Left wing, probably Parkhouse, because obviously he went on to play for Wellington Phoenix in the A-League, but over the night because Chris Lomax, you know, he's still playing there now. He's been in North County since he was 17.
Two of them are at they've just signed, haven't they, for the same club?
Yeah, they both for Pilks. Believe it or not.
Everyone's favourite club.
Both for Pilks. Up front would definitely be, listen, Andy Gillespie, Chad White. I couldn't really look at any further than them, really. Do you know what I mean? Andy Gillespie scored 37 goals for us that season when we were 1 point out the playoffs, and not one was a penalty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's on the boards, isn't he? Them like little boards that they've got at St Helens.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And then obviously Chad White.
Yeah.
You know, hashtag Chad White scores goals. But again, Josh Quarles could have been in there, do you know what I mean? But because we didn't play that many games under each other because of the COVID and that. And then on the right wing would probably be Connor Comer. Although Connor he did play on the left for me. Yeah. But he is right-footed. He's currently at Bury. Play for Nose, that's it. This year. Fantastic kid, you know what I mean? And again, I think he will move up the leagues. So that probably be me 11.
Nick, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much
when I wanted to do it, you're obviously someone who's helped me quite a bit, so I wanted to get you on and like listen to your story and stuff. So nice one for coming up, giving your time and that. You know, we appreciate it, and I've enjoyed that.
Good luck.
Nice one. And absolutely anyone listening, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe on the video. If you're on Spotify, leave a review. Same with Apple. We've actually got quite a few good reviews. We've reached Qatar this week, Jay. We're going quite well, to be honest. Just in time for the World Cup, and potentially the new owners of Liverpool need to get that checkbook out and get us a new one. But yeah, if you watch on YouTube, leave a like and subscribe. When I was looking the other day, there was like 90% of our audience who are watching week in, week out, not subscribed. May seem stupid, but it goes a long way to us having a subscription. The algorithm puts us in more people's YouTubes and that, so please do that. But nice one to Nick. We'll be back 2 weeks because I'm going to the promised land of Paris again next week, God help me. But yeah, nice one to everyone for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe. It's been me, Matty and Jay as always, joined by Nick. And yeah, nice one.